see so many people here, and I'm really, really happy to be here in Manila for our largest event this year at Dell. So thank you again for coming, and thank you too for overseas guests who actually flew in from the overseas. Thank you. So let me start off first by setting the context, right? That the industry is very, very, very competitive, right? And the market is actually very challenging. In fact, if you look at this slide actually shows you some recent market studies that were done by different universities and different research institutions. In the first one that was done by the Washington University, they found that actually in 10 years' time, 40% of the Fortune's 500 companies actually will no longer exist, right? And in the second study that was done by Professor Richard Foster of the Yale University, they found that the average lifespan of companies in the Fortune 500 actually decreased by 50 years compared to last century, right? So in other words, if you look at the slide, 1920, the average lifespan of a Fortune 500 company was actually 67 years. And actually right now in 2016, the average lifespan of a Fortune 500 company is actually 15 years, right? But the good news is that it's not all bad news, right? On a more positive note, Dell and IDC did a study just last year, a recent study, where we actually polled all the companies who have actually embraced and used technology, right? And we found actually quite positive news, right? We found that actually companies that have embraced technology and done the digital transformation, that they saw a 108% increase in their revenue. They saw 56% of that actually came from new products or services. And then 56% actually saw an increase in customer satisfaction ratings. And finally, there was an 83% increase in employee activity, right? Just from companies who've actually embraced and used technology. Now, Dell, we actually envision a future, right, that is focused on using technology, technology-laden and human-centric. We believe that there is a future where there is unlimited clean energy resources, where companies are actually able to provide pervasive customer experience, and where the quality of life can be improved. Right? It will be really exciting if you think about it, that being 100 years old, right, it actually becomes the new 60 years old. Right? And at Dell, we're actually working with customers today to look forward to the future where there are unlimited opportunities. Now, technology is at the center of a future-ready strategy. Right? And at Dell, we believe that technology is available today to allow companies to be more agile, more mobile, more informed, and more secure. Now, if you look at the recent developments in the IT industry, right, more and more companies are actually splitting up and providing very siloed solutions. I'm proud to say that Dell is the only true end-to-end solutions provider, right, all the way from the desktop, the notebooks, to the data center. And we believe our solutions will enable companies to actually do well in all these 4 areas that you see here. Now, in the first area of being more agile means you're able to transform and to optimize your data center. Now, if your data center is optimized, it means that it is virtualized, it's converged, your workloads are optimized, and you can actually connect to the cloud. The second is actually being more mobile. Now, what does it mean? More mobile means that you're able to connect to the different devices and tools, right? You're able to connect your internal workforce and also establish intimate relationships with your customers. Now, with this, you're able to communicate better internally, and you're able to get more customer loyalty and drive your sales up. The third area is about inform, right? Inform means about managing your data, the huge amounts of data, and actually being able to draw insights from your data. Now, if you're able to draw insights from your data, you are able to unlock the full potential of it and actually gain competitive advantage over your competitors. And finally, the fourth area is secure. Right? Secure means protecting and safeguarding your data, your environment, and your infrastructure. Now, this is really important. And if you're secure, you're also able to react faster in the event of any breaches. Now, I'm happy to say that if you look at the industry out there, there are many examples of companies that have actually embraced technology and used it to be successful in their respective industries. These companies actually make the possibilities real. Now, the first example is an interesting example, right? It's about using IoT or Internet of Things, but in this case, it's the Internet of Bees. Right, now, bees are actually a really important part of the ecosystem, right? They're really important because bees actually pollinate 1/3 of the world's crops. Right? And Australian scientists have actually devised a way to attach very tiny sensors to the bodies of 5,000 honeybees. Right? And these sensors actually contain radio frequency chips, where scientists can now actually track in real time the movement of this swarm of bees. Right? And when they do that, they're able then to detect any anomalies in the bees' behavior. Now, the second example is actually one of my favorite examples, right? Because football or soccer, right, is actually one of my favorite sports. Now, who here are football fans? Put up your hands. I'm sure there are a lot of football fans, right? And it's pretty exciting right now with the Euro 2016 happening. Now, if you are a big soccer fan or football fan like me, you will remember in June of 1986, right, there was a really important match between England and Argentina. And if you remember that important match, right, there was a goal that was scored by Maradona, right? And he actually used his hands to score the goal, right? And now, if you were an English fan, a football fan like me, you would be really, really frustrated then, right? Because when you looked at the replay, you could see that clearly he had used his hands, right? The good news is that there is a company now, right, called Goal Control that has actually devised a 4D solution. This 4D solution is made up of 15 cameras that are mounted on the roof of stadiums, right? And they actually capture 500 images per second. And these images are actually transferred through fiber optic cables to data centers where there's a rack of Dell servers that's analyzing the data, and they then actually send a goal or no-go judgment to the referee on the pitch, right, wirelessly through their watches. The global positioning data is also sent to Dell Precision workstations, who actually then recreate a virtual replay, which are then sent to the broadcasters, right? So how great would that be, right? Where we could actually get, correct calls by the referees now. Now, the next example is actually of the Fujian University, right, in China. And in this example, they actually used a real-time cloud platform to analyze data to actually reduce traffic congestion. Now, in Fujian province, there are 120,000 government vehicles that are equipped with GPS. They actually transmit in real time the actual location. Now, combining this data together with images from the major traffic lights, the cloud platform actually analyzes traffic behavior. And this then will formulate traffic policies to actually reduce the traffic congestion in the Fujian province. And the final example is on aged healthcare. Now, if you look at many countries around the world, especially developed countries, right, healthcare for the aged is actually becoming a real big problem, right? There are three factors. Number one, there's a rapid increase in the number of aged people. Number two, there's a lot of chronic health problems that are associated with the aged. And finally, number three, there's a shortage of healthcare professionals. Right, so a US telemedicine company called HealthNet Connect actually developed a video doc solution. Right, this solution is a remote monitoring patient solution. Right, it allows healthcare professionals to actually remotely monitor elderly patients who have checked out of the hospital but still require active monitoring. Now, if you look at this solution, it's deployed in many different types of cities, right? But in the very remote cities in Africa, in India, the Dell tablet, which is part of the solution, it's even equipped with a solar panel, right? So they can connect to the satellite. In addition to that, the video dock solution contains 15 Bluetooth peripherals, right? So they have devices or peripherals like ECG, right, to measure your heart rate. They actually have a device that manages your blood pressure, your sugar level, and it also has weight, BMI, and other statistics that they can measure. Now, on the doctor side, the doctors are actually equipped with a 23-inch Dell all-in-one. The all-in-one has a monitor, a microphone, where doctors can actually, remotely monitor the patients. And they can actually remotely control a camera that's on the patient side, a 360-degree high-definition camera, where they can actually capture the images of the patients and see their wounds and any other conditions. Now, what is great is that all this data can be actually shared simultaneously to 20 specialists, real time, right? And all this data is actually fed into their data center, which is obviously run by Dell, right? And it's secure and it's actually backed up with disaster recovery. Now, this solution has enabled Healthcare Connect to actually gain scale very, very rapidly, right? They actually saved hiring 200 healthcare physicians and actually saved $20 million annually just by using this solution. All right, so at Dell, we believe there's a lot of opportunities for innovation, right? And that it takes leaders, though, to actually change business to be future ready. So my recommendation to be future ready is to change the way you think about technology, right? In the old times, IT used to be about running the business. Well, no longer. IT now is about changing the business. Number two, pave the way for innovative leadership. There are many visionaries in your organization. It may be you. So be bold and take the action. Number three is think about new models, new business models in new ways. I think you heard from Chris and you heard from Chiwei just now, right? Giving many examples of Uber, Airbnb, and these are all good examples of companies that have disrupted their business models. In fact, if you look at the retail space, is a good example too, right? Amazon, eBay, these are all companies that have really revolutionized the retail industry, right? And frankly, right now, traditional retail is facing really big challenges because of these companies. The next area is actually investing in your people, providing them the skills to be able to use or embrace technology. Now, frankly, in many of my conversations with the technologies leaders around the region, CIOs, this is actually one of the biggest challenges, right? On actually being able to train their existing people to have the right skill set and actually being able to find new people that has the skill set. The other area would be rethinking your current system and processes. I know many people are actually very used to doing things in a very set way, right? But the recommendation here is to be always open and flexible. And finally, never think of innovation as a single project or single time frame, right? It is constantly evolving and constantly changing. So finally, I give you an example of Dell, right? I'm very proud to say that Dell is a good example of a company that has actually embraced a lot of the principles that I mentioned earlier, right? Embracing change, embracing technology. Now, if you look at where we started in 1984, right, when Michael Dell first started the company, we started the company just selling PCs, right? And over the years, you can see in 1988, the company actually went public, right? And over the years, in 1994, we entered the server market, networking, storage in 1998. And in 2006 to 2010, we actually acquired many, many companies, right? And actually developed an end-to-end solution portfolio. And in 2013, as many of you would know, right, we became a private company. And the reason why we became a private company is because we wanted to really be able to think long-term and be able to plan for the future. And again, as many of you would know, in 2016, very soon, actually, in a couple of weeks' time or months' time, we will actually merge with EMC, and there develops a new chapter. All right, so as you can see here, Dell, we're very, very committed, right, on developing and embracing technology, and I hope that all of you do. Thank you very much.